highways in probably a third of the United States is to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to
it's
Paducah
crazy.
for the last one, and
Yeah,
that was just incredible. There's no words.
I think everybody will through
Yeah.
all that stretch from Hot Springs back this way.
Anyway,
UCO's making big plans too. Looks like we're on, and we are right at 4:30. So I don't know if we're going to have anyone else today. I do believe Krista is gone this week. So we'll call us to order right at 4:30. All right, and the minutes were sent via email, so I don't know if anyone has questions about those, if we're ready to move to accept those. All right,
Second by motion to approve.
excellent.
second.
Second, good. Move all in favor?
Right.
Good deal. Okay. So like I said, today will be a little bit of just a recap, hindsighting of Arbor Day. And we'll talk about that a little bit, just kind of what we think went well and what we can do a little bit better. And then also a look ahead for next year, just to kind of start thinking about that. So I did attach today to the agenda. You'll also see that we have on the backside our financials, and then, hey, Sam, there are an extra set of meeting notes. You're welcome to sit up here or over there, but
He's got some.
oh, look, there's all kinds of extra notes in here.
Right. We're all just handing
Right,
them
we
over.
just want to communicate with you, that's all. So we've got financials, and then also I've attached just for us later, kind of what we're working towards in 2022. So we'll see what we want to
We're
continue.
2023.
Well, this was this was set for when we were planning for 2022.
Okay,
These were
got
our
it, got it,
goals,
got it.
right? So I just kind of attached those,
I got
just so you had that
confused.
for reference. Yeah, no problem. So, okay, so our financial reporting, of course, we had already agreed that the $42.89 that was available in our budget, past any other encumbrances, would go towards Arbor Day. Don't have all of the receipts in, had invoices coming in today, but it looks like, we're going to be under budget, of course, for that. So we do still have outstanding expenses to be for the photo contest, because that doesn't end until the 13th. And so I'm not quite sure what to do about this, what's legal to do or not, but during Arbor Day, we did get donations at $93 in cash and $87 to Cash App or Venmo.
Cash App and Venmo.
Yeah, and so
That'll hit my account tomorrow,
Yeah.
or it should. Cash App definitely will. It's already showing as pending, but
Yeah.
Venmo will. Cash App, yeah. Anyway,
And that was not something we prepared for, but on the spot, people wanted to give money, and that was the option. And so Josh just said, hey, I'll do this, and we'll get that tracked, and so he'll give us all of that information.
Yeah.
We have $180, essentially, it was given in donations to the tree board
it's
at
going to
Arbor
be another
Day.
10 because I picked up a shirt too that I haven't paid for yet. I got the green version at EcoFest. And I wanted the blue version.
Excellent. So 190. So I guess my question is, so with the photo contest, we still need to purchase some of the gift cards. Would that be something that we can just take that money and then use towards those gift cards, since it's already allocated and we've got cash on hand? Is that legal to do? Look, we're all looking at one another. And Krista, who's like kind of our treasurer, is not here. So I don't know if she would have any more information on that or not, but
I want to say for sure.
I don't think I can say for sure.
so we'll follow up on exactly what to do with those, but
Yeah.
we know we do have $190 in funds.
Okay.
And we had already agreed that $200 would be purchased in gift cards and or whatever for the photo contest winners. So I thought my brain easy solution is use the cash. However, I don't know if that's something that we can do. So
Well, if we have enough left in our budget,
So just so I get my mind wrapped around it, donations came in at Arbor Day at $190.
Yeah.
And we're just want to take that $190 and use it to
purchase the gift cards that we had already
that we were
voted
already
on.
going to.
Yeah, allocated out
I'm gonna say
to.
it's probably going to be all right.
Sounds like it would be fine.
yeah,
Probably
especially like
check
if
and
there's a
see.
problem, we can always. It was already allocated in our budget. We can just say, okay, well, if that money's now that's going to sit in our account, and if there's a problem, we can.
And if it needs to be sent in and appropriated, that's fine too.
Yeah.
So I, if you want to put me on that, I will follow up on that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I am going to donate 3 $25 gift cards from my laundry service for the prizes. So
Thank you so much for that.
it's easy. I can do that. Excuse me. I didn't mean to laugh that loud.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have to look into that for that.
Okay. But those were funds that were already allocated in, the gift cards I'm talking about, so I'm not worried about that. Okay. Don't really have many more financial updates to share, really, since it just happened on Saturday. Let's see, and we do still have the $400 for the trees sitting in the budget as well, just so you guys know, and the RDOT grant money. All the encumbered allocated are still sitting in the account.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions about financials? Okay. All right. And so old business, no updates on the chamber. It looks like some clearing or something has actually happened down in that roundabout though, and it may just be the season. Or maybe I was just paying more attention. But we drove by the other day. I was like, oh, is that clear? Anyway.
Which roundabout is this?
Not the roundabout, but when you come off the overpass, right there, Dave Ward, and circle around.
Oh, okay,
By
that.
Lewis.
Okay, the Cloverleaf. Yeah.
Yeah, they have cleaned it up.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So new board member, and we'll skip down celebration tree pavers, nothing to update about that. Sitting on those, we'll talk about that later when we look into next year. So we can plan when we would like to get those in the ground. As far as new board members, did everyone receive the communication that is taking us back to the original founding ordinance? I've not gone back to look at that, but essentially there are 7 nominees. So keep me honest, because I know I don't want to make sure I'm not losing anything in translation. But now the mayor will make the decision out of any nominations that come in during the city's open board enrollment period, which is October 1st through October 31st. They submit to the city. The mayor makes the decision, forwards it to city council. We get the information, and then we communicate with board applicants, board members, and all of that. So I did try to communicate today. Sometimes I feel like my email communication doesn't come across as intended, but I was just trying to let them know, since we had already been in communication with some folks. I heard there are 7 nominees. We were only aware of 5. Of those 5, only 3 still had interest. So I was just trying to save some time going, hey, these 2 people have already rescinded their offer. So hopefully that was communicated well, but ultimately it's up to the mayor. So we will find out. Do you know when he will send his submissions?
I would imagine it would be by the end of the year, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, so they won't go in November. We don't know when they'll be on the agenda.
There's a chance that we could. I don't know. Have you heard anything?
I bet they do.
You think so?
I bet
I mean, if it's
it'll be
all
in
boards.
there. I
yeah.
bet so.
Okay.
I don't know that, but I bet they're gonna probably.
It could be maybe end of November
Mhm.
timeframe.
Okay.
Probably maybe early December, sometime around then.
And I know, and since I've really never had to vote on any before, I didn't know if these were updates the same or if we had just, so for those of you.
I thought that's what I read from Shawana. I mean, Shawana, is that it was in the November meeting is when he was going to put forward to the council. Was that not in there?
I assumed, but I had also communicated to you guys that I would send our submissions to make sure we were hitting it by the November.
So it will not be in November.
Yeah.
Most likely January for Felicia.
Okay, so
So it'll be
January.
in 2023.
Okay,
So that's it.
I just
so,
want to say I think this is a really bad idea, but there's nothing we can do about it. So
I mean, the board serve at this for the mayor. So
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I understand, but I just like, okay,
well, the only concerns that I have really are, there are some nuances sometimes, so this year we obviously had some openings outside of the open enrollment period. So we were already making decisions on our own, getting ready, not decisions, but recommendations to forward to the mayor. Because you're absolutely right. We're here to serve the city, not just the mayor, but the entire city. But we are part of his governing body,
That's
right?
right.
And so I can
so
totally
that's the
respect that.
privilege of the mayor.
Yeah. The only, and I guess my only, I don't even want to say concern, but question or curiosity would be how will he make decisions effectively for each board, knowing that there are nuances that happen. So we had talked about skill sets. So for instance, and we'll talk about this later, but if a position comes open and we need someone that's not only a member at large, but might have stronger marketing skills or outreach or education, more hands-on versus planning, those are some of the discussions and nuances that would be needed on the board. Same thing where we didn't necessarily have a professional horticulturist position, someone who applied, we have someone on board that we can shift some of the open. So those are really more my logistical concerns, not who would be chosen or selected, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Look
that's what
back
I mean.
at track record, and I think they have a good track record of being very equitable, and I think that they would continue with that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, so that I just want to update you guys on that, and that that is the direction that we are headed. Any other questions about that? Okay, we're going to move right on along. All right. So Arbor Day, it was our first one in a really long time, and the first one that I've really had to help organize and all of that. And so just would like opinions for those of you guys who were there. I felt like it was a pretty good
I
success.
thought it was great. We had a lot of people come through.
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad. I meant to find the guy that was doing the music from Kings afterwards because I felt kind of bad. He was over there performing to an empty bleachers, but I'm like, but of course everybody's over doing
They were
other
right
stuff.
behind you.
I just wanted to be like, I really appreciated the music. I was just over here doing, my job.
And they were, and I think they were.
It was really good, though. I think everybody enjoyed it. A lot of the kids that I think were coming there just to play saw that and also just were like, let's go over there and see what that is, too.
Yeah, so I think the location was helpful too. That was kind of by design. We knew it would be a lighter year, so putting us down on that end was a kind of a strategy so we could leverage that. That way we rounded up soccer teams and all kinds of stuff. So, okay. Any other concerns or feedback from this year's event? I know the tree plantings went really well. We do need to go back and mulch those. We did get the trunk guards on, so follow up to that would be that we need to get mulch around the trees. And I was surprised because we had talked about a completely different area, so when I went back, I was a little surprised, but she said that's where Trey had
Given
told him to go there, but I thought we were moving it further back, but anyway.
I drove by there later and looked like a good spot for them.
Yeah, well, it's more like rights of way expansion and Conway Corp. And I knew there was a lot going
I see
on
what you
after our
mean, yeah.
conversation. So
yeah.
hopefully that is still okay. I was a little surprised. But mulch. So we need to have mulch put around those trees. And then obviously we'll just watch moisture and hopefully won't have to do too much watering, but we'll kind of commit to check on those and make sure they're doing okay.
Will we be able to contact the UCA photographer and any other photographers that were at the event and get permission to utilize their photos to post about it? Because I didn't really see any photos during the event or after the event of how it went, and just to get people interested in trees and this board in general.
So I know Natalie posted some on Sunday, and then again a bunch came out today, like 65 pictures or something like that. And then who did I see? I don't know if UCA, someone already put it, or maybe it was the departments at UCA had shared their own photos. So I did see some come out this weekend, but to your point, we can reach out to Seth and make sure we can get good use of those. I'm not sure what all he took, but I know he was down at the tree planting with us for a while and then took off back down to y'all's area. So, yeah. So, okay. And I figured I was just waiting to see when they were posted, and we'll definitely cross-share and all of that, but to get photos if we need to.
And I haven't posted on Instagram yet, but I will. I'm planning on doing that probably tomorrow.
Which is where your generation is. Well, you're on Facebook too, right? We all are both Facebook. Most people are on Instagram, that's for that. Okay. All right, so I'll follow up with Seth too. All right. Anything else?
I thought it went really well.
Were people looking for giveaway trees this year? I'm curious about that one
A
because we
lot
have
of
done that
people
in the
were
past.
asking about that, and they were like, okay, especially if they asked what we did. It was like, well, we gave away 600 trees earlier this year. When are you going to do that again? Probably next year in March.
It's a weird time to do that.
Yeah.
They're not really pulling them from nurseries right now. So
Because I know the students used to grow them for us, right, or take care of them, and that's how we were able to do them in the fall. But I was just curious if we heard.
We had a lot of people interested.
Okay. And so did y'all just redirect them to spring?
I told them
Yeah,
to
we
look
just
out
said,
in the
follow our
spring.
page, or you sign up for the email and watch for the spring.
Okay. All right.
The Keep Conway Shady stickers were very, very popular. Very popular.
I was curious how, of all the, is that the one?
That
Yeah.
was the one.
Awesome.
Tree Hugger, Tree Hugger was a very close second, but that was people looked at that and was like, oh, I like that. That's funny.
It is. Really were good. And we've got plenty of things to continue on for giveaways and volunteer efforts and stuff like that too. So, but for the year, we've pretty much wrapped up with what we're going to do for this year. So if we don't have anything else to share really about Arbor Day, then I'd like to just quickly talk about the photography contest. And so we know that continues on through the 13th. And I would like for us to make our decisions. What did we say, by the 20th we would announce it? And so get them in by the 13th. Can we get another push maybe to get the photography contest promoted this week one or two more times, just the deadline? I saw you already sent one out. Let's do a couple more pushes on that. We've not gotten nearly as many submissions. Yeah.
We were pushing that at the table too. You're like, oh, hey, check the one thing we've got left this year is the photography contest. You've still got a week to enter it. You don't have to be a professional. Actually, it was really funny because I said something about you don't have to be a professional, and the one kid goes, my dad's a professional. I was like, yeah, I bet he is.
Like, get him to submit something.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. So by the 20th, we'll make the decision. So as soon as the 13th happens, then Natalie and her beautiful magic gets it all organized for us. We'll send it out, voting via email. We have 2 judges this year, so we all will participate as well. So just look for an email, quick vote, 1 out of the 3 categories, and then we'll go back. I've gotten in the books that we were going to give out. We will get the gift cards, but I'd really like to see who the winners are so we can tailor it, because I know we got a lot of very young submissions through classrooms this year, which is cool.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it was good. One teacher was really like pumped about it and kept sending.
Is our numbers, I know we were saying that we didn't have as many participating this year as we did last year. Is it that came up any at all?
Only in the younger age group. I think there's like.
But we just hadn't had the colors though. I mean, there's a few trees that have been pretty good.
This week's been pretty good. Last week, this week's looking good.
I think that's the problem too. It's just been so weird this year. What it was.
It was when the initial pushes, it was crispy and nothing like pretty. They were dry.
That's what I was thinking about when we do our tree giveaway next year, whatever, in the spring, is maybe if we could tie to that. Because I always just wonder, like, what happens to those trees? If we could, like, encourage them to take a picture of their planted tree and share it and attach it or whatever, because then I think it would just generate a little bit even more
that would be cool.
interest. I mean, not everybody's going to do that, but.
Well, we need an incentive. Like, what would be the incentive for that? I think we could.
I think people just showing off their.
But that's what I was going to say. Some people just wanted to just show off their hard work.
Yeah.
And then it would.
Check out my tree year over year kind of thing.
Yeah.
And next year, somebody else wants to show off their hard work.
Which would be great. Yeah, for sure.
Could there be an additional category for the photo contest or like a separate additional giveaway for?
So it's your new tree or something. Yeah. We'll think there'll be something we can do to tie it in and make it fun. Additional trees. I don't know. Plant another tree. Oh. We can think about that. That's a good idea though, because we had talked about it'd be nice to see how many actually made it into the ground.
I thought that's the only way we'd get even just a small little snapshot.
Yeah. And that might be something, we've got, I did email today, this random tangent, take us back, but that might be something through UCA Geography. They've got a platform that people can get on and interact with. They could actually pin their trees and their locations. So that might be something we could tie in and get some data, something fun. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know people were excited that we were going to be doing the trees again in spring. So, okay. And then I don't know, we didn't have a way to get actual good numbers at Arbor Day, because I know food varied from popcorn, which varied from exhibitors, and I think 250 looked to be about the max of anything that was kind of given out. So, but they all varied. How was your, so Sam Little, she was like fireperson Sam in her gear, talking about prescribed fire out there, and I know you had several people come by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it was pretty great. And then UCA also had Fish and Wildlife Society right next to it as well. And they had a bunch of different native fishes, native macros, that they were showing to kids, giving out Arkansas fish booklets, all sorts of stuff. And so kids seemed really, really interested in learning about how to manage for our natural habitats, how to help protect trees, all of it.
Yeah, good, awesome. Okay. The Adopt a Tree too, just, I'm not moving off to Arbor Day yet. So we have a lot of the Adopt a Tree certificates and the journals and things like that. And the feedback from geography is once they could get people engaged or aware of what was going on, they were really excited and interested. So we had kids going out to measure trees and adopt a tree and get all the dimensions and learn about that, which was really cool. We still are sitting on a lot of that collateral. So maybe like if we go do a shade tree garden planting, we might could do some education and just take those too. We have quite a bit of those.
Mhm.
So that may not be something that translated very well in terms of festival, but it would have a good place. So anyway, that was just food for thought, a way to either kind of market it better at the event or how can we use and leverage that. So just keep that in the back of your mind. All right. So let's talk about 2023, and we'll talk about some actually board positions before we move on. We do have another announcement. Do you want to share that?
Oh, yes, I will be leaving the board. Yeah. Logan Pryor, who came to the event on Saturday, is going to be filling in my spot.
Mhm.
So they want to keep it under operations at Conway Corp. So
Yeah.
And I'm no longer in that role, but he'll be a good asset. I don't know what his strong suit will be, but he'll figure out pretty quickly.
Absolutely. So we won't talk too much about position, like how that will change. Obviously,
Secretary.
that's a question. So secretary,
Oh, an announcement, that's a bummer.
it is a bummer. And I
It's
just want to
sad,
say,
but some, people must move on, unfortunately.
Must move
Unfortunately
on.
for them.
however, I hope y'all know how incredibly vital Natalie has been
Yeah.
to our board
Yeah.
in terms of communication, organization, partnership with the city, marketing, creativity, all of the things. So it'll be a huge hole when you go, but we appreciate everything
Yeah.
you did. And hopefully you'll stay on as a friend and stay
Yeah, and if you'll
involved
need
with us.
anything, I'm still around to help.
Yeah.
I just won't be coming to probably every meeting and voting, but I can
Sure.
help with whatever y'all need.
Yeah,
until
the
you
fun,
fill
the
in.
fun creative
The
stuff
fun
that you like.
creative stuff,
Yeah.
yes.
Good at. Yeah.
Picking chairs.
Please use me. Yeah. And Logan was at Arbor Day and jumped right in and
Yeah.
where can I help and how can I do and floated around. So it's great to have him. And he had sat in at one of our meetings a long time ago
He
too.
did.
So
Yeah.
Back in probably April or May.
yeah. And so I did want to share that because this will be your last meeting, official meeting. And then Logan's not here, but his first meeting will be December with us. So, okay. All right. And then that answers my question. So whenever a role changes within some of the city departments or Conway Corp, then that just rolls right over to that next person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So, okay. So moving on to 2023, and you are welcome to flip back to 2022, this last page. These are just a few of the things that we had planned on. And I want to say for the most part, we didn't do like the city. Well, there was a city, not an urban hike, but a tree identification that did get done. The UCA challenge course and getting onto UCA and the nature reserve, as we talked about, was something that did not happen. But everything else happened under our community outreach plan. Krista did several webinars for the community, and then the free trees, I'm not sure we're on here because that was an additional. So the free tree giveaway is something that we also did. In terms of canopy management and looking at some of the things that we wanted to do, and I'm going to pause for a moment because I think when we go into 2023, looking at our committees, even the name or their function might be something that we want to look at or
Sure.
rename because it's been confusing. Really. So I know there's not enough of us here today of the members going forward, maybe to make that decision. That might be something we want to wait until January, but looking at partnering with city planning, obviously, what is something that makes sense in terms of committee work that can support what you guys are wanting us to do. So we might want to revisit that. But to take us back, the committees as they exist now, so the Community Action Committee, again, we hit all of our goals except for the one challenge course. The canopy management, looking at some of the things that we did do tree plantings. We got 200 trees in the ground. There have been other one-offs, but going down the list, establishing quarterly work days and locations. We didn't really do that this
There were
year.
only a couple,
Yeah,
but I don't think they were necessarily planned out as quarterly.
quarterly, yeah.
Mhm.
And the one, why I mentioned that now, because we had several different ideas of what to do. I know Krista's not here, but we had talked about doing some invasive species cleanup to get out so we can do some education around invasive species and natives, what to keep, what not to keep. So when we look at how we can support that in 2023, maybe it's more specific. Maybe there's a targeted area around Parks and Rec or somewhere in the city that you guys might want some help with the cleanup, or we can get some volunteers in a big group out. So that may be helpful. The Conway 2025, that has kind of just fallen right off the table, but we do want to look at how can we get some community programs going. So of those, and I don't know that it's necessarily a community program, but keeping the capstone project, I know we need some GIS data information. So that's something that we wanted to get in 2022. I think we need to continue on to get that in 2023. And that I'm referencing that where it says seek partnerships to increase density and canopy. So, during that effort, we found that we don't have the information that we need really to know, where are we now and how can we get there? We've got some basic information, but we knew we wanted to grow that. So I'd say getting the data would be a good place for us to pick back up in 2023. I don't know if y'all have any thoughts about that.
Not really.
Let's see. Celebration Tree Program. We know we've got the Tree Grove. I don't know if you took a look at the annual sponsorship.
Talking about Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, because it mentioned, we looked at a way to help fund some more tree groves and or if it needed to be irrigation, like what is it to help support the plantings? Because I know they need to go where there's access to water. And so not sure what we need to do to continue on with tree groves, like you've offered up the Fifth Avenue Park.
Yeah, there's several places, we talked about that
Yeah.
internally. There's several places that we'd be all in
Good.
favor.
So we do still have some locations. And so, the BRIC sponsorship program was one way we thought about funding that. And so, we had all kind of shot around some ideas of how we would like to go about that. And probably got lost in a lot of the Arbor Day information, but I sent you over just like a little initial form to go, are you okay with the wording on this? And I'm pointing Parks and Rec, mentioning
Yes.
Fifth Avenue Park, Tree Grove. And the thoughts are that we could stick with what the Arbor Day sponsorships were, like $250 for a brick. There's different sponsorships level that could go all the way up to $2,000, which would help fund an actual tree grove. So that would give us like 5 trees and pavers. So, all the way down to a little mustard seed donation of $50. So looking at a way that we can grow annual sponsorships through brick, pavers, or actual tree grove donations. So I'll send that back out to you guys to take a look at. And if
There wasn't any concern on our side.
I was going to say, if y'all feel
Thumbs
pretty.
up from us.
Okay. So that would be one way to help fund. And if anyone is looking, I will send all of that out to you guys. So, because there was a lot of communication about Arbor Day and it came in about the same time, so. How are we doing on time anyway?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, okay. So canopy management work, I'm just going to keep on moving down. The tree campus, the higher ed tree campus, we had been dealing with UCA. Also wanted to circle back to Central Baptist and Hendricks too. I'll tell you, with all the hits to staffing and budgets and higher ed right now, we will get back to those conversations, but I know in terms of actual labor, a lot of them have lost so many people. I was just not wanting to ask any more of them with all the change that's going on this year. So there is a new director at UCA. So for the physical plants, we'll be back in touch with him. All the framework's still there. They already meet all the qualifications. We'll just continue that back up in 2023. I do want to share, and I don't know if Krista was able to do that when they did the tree walk at UCA. We also, Harold and Krista identified that there might be one of the champion willow oak trees, so a state champion tree. It may actually take first or second place in terms of size and year or something like that. Like it's a pretty major one.
If it is a champion, I think we could, trying to remember her name. Lady from Hot Springs that paints all the champion trees. We could submit it to her and have her potentially paint it. Yeah. Linda Williams Palmer or Palmer Williams. Anyway.
Yeah.
She's a really nice lady.
Okay.
She's painted all the champion trees around the state. It'd be kind of cool.
That would be neat. Yeah.
Okay.
So I saw Harold this week and just asked him like what all is involved for that. And basically it's the forestry commission will take care of everything. We just need to get permission from UCA that they're okay that they do that. So I'll reach out this week too. That also came, I was out of town and then it was Arbor Day week, so I'm feeling behind. But so I'll reach out. So that's kind of a cool thing that came out, getting out into the community. There were about 21 people who went to the tree ID walk at UCA. That was just a little lunch break, so that was cool. Yeah. All right. So did not accomplish that goal, but that's going to continue on. Tree groves will continue on. Let's see. So I guess I'll pause because we can look at some of these other, so the sustainable works are the bigger things that we wanted to get into, right? So if we wanted to become a pollinator community, the forestry management plan for Conway, in my opinion, the forest management plan is like our number. I would like to see that as our number one priority for 2023. This is my first year. I had us doing a lot of little bitty stuff, but it'd be really nice if we could zoom out and see what we can do with creating a forestry management plan. And I think that's where the capstone project will be helpful with some information. I know we had toyed around about maybe getting a consultant to help us, not really as large as what the Arts Board did, but I think we would be well served to maybe reach out to Robbie and see if maybe there's a different grant that we could go after that would support that. I know we were wanting to use the, when we didn't think the RDOT was going to happen, that was the grant we thought we could use to get a consultant, but there's other funding, I'm sure, and if we partner with Robbie, because I know there's also been some changes with grants, some updates on
Oh, yeah, and I'm
procedure
sure he
and
would probably
things.
know a lot more about that. So
Yeah,
he would
and-
probably be really good. to reach
Yeah,
out
and so
to.
it might be nice once, we get our ideas of what we would like to accomplish to go in and see how he can help us get that funded through some grants and stuff.
What is the process of getting city funding or putting a number in the budget in the city
So are you talking like,
for
That
2023?
was separate, now she's asking
Yeah,
something
this
else.
is separate, sorry.
I was like, and I'm done with that. No,
But
she's
I was
not.
gonna say, if the city could help fund some of that too, and if it was a matching grant,
Yeah,
I can have him check on that. I don't know
No.
too much about how the whole grant thing works, but
because I know in one of the meetings, we had talked about how we only really get money from Conway
Conway
Corp.
Mhm.
But you said there may be a way to ask the city for a budget, line item in the budget. And so I didn't know if that was something that we could do, is ask for $2,000 allocated to tree board or however much.
like from city council,
Mm,
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to have to,
I mean, we can certainly ask for it.
Yeah.
I guess there's no guarantee that they would go with that, but
Yeah.
certainly
Well,
worth
we
a
would
shot.
probably need a specific project, I guess.
I think
would
they
it
would,
be a
that would probably be
specific
the big thing, is
project,
they're
or-
gonna wanna have something that you're using that money for, not just like
Mhm.
generic stuff. It's probably
Right.
gotta be tailored very specifically to
I
something.
would say it would be easier if it was tied to a grant in some way where you're.
Yeah.
It's matching funds.
So instead
But
of putting
it can't-
something in the budget to say you have this amount of money, you can ask for it just on a whim. Because don't they need like a certain amount in their budget allocated for, that's what I'm saying, like, because we're not gonna know about these grants for probably, another 6 months,
There's
or
something-
like,
you're
is
saying
there a
something pretty
cutoff?
bad,
Yeah, is there a cutoff date to get money from the city, like through their budget process?
Gotcha.
And
And I
just
think I
set
remember
it
now
aside for a future grant, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, just in
'Cause,
general, like how Conway Corp gives us $5,000
Yeah.
every year recurring, because they know we're gonna have to use those funds towards whatever.
Yeah, like we
Mostly it was
create a
Arbor
budget
Day.
for 2023,
Yeah,
I don't know.
and so the
Maybe
Sort of like an
Versus-
allotment of
Yeah.
funds that you
Yeah.
could then, if you had a designated reason that you could
Yeah.
use.
Because if something popped up in like June, but they had done their budget for 2023 in November, and then you couldn't ask for that funding because it wasn't in the budget. If there was a way to get something in the budget.
That's a great planning question.
I mean, I feel like you can always ask, it's one of those things where, you're always welcome to ask them. I would say it's probably not going to be a whole lot of money if I had to guess. If maybe you could get a small amount for something.
Yeah.
Unless you had like a big grant that you're working on or a specific project. But I think if it's just like generic, like for a future grant or for a future project, it would probably be a very small amount. But again, I don't know.
So I wonder if you could word it to say like, for all of our tree planting projects, because you know that you're probably gonna plant at least
well,
a
or
few different trees in the
Yeah.
parks throughout the year, at least around Arbor Day.
for tree giveaways,
Yeah.
we know we're gonna do
Well, and I think
that.
if you said like, here's the parks where we're planting, here's the types of trees, how many we're gonna be getting, and if you gave them, I think the more details that you have and the more that you can give them up front, the more money you will,
Yeah.
probably the more likely you are to get money and probably more money in the long run.
Or even
Yeah.
asking for Arbor Day,
Yeah.
funds for Arbor Day,
Okay.
But that would help out too, to offset some of those costs if you're wanting to hire the consultant to do a forest management plan,
Right.
What would that cost, just out of curiosity? Anybody
Well-
even have an idea?
The geo, I can't remember, it was gonna be like $5,000 a year if we wanted them to maintain some of the data, but, I think it was $5,000, but then a $5,000 recurring. I don't know, for some reason that number's sticking in my head. Krista handled that part, but there were things that we thought that we could do.
You have to sign up for like 5 years or something like that, though?
No, well, we can pay for different levels, and this took us way back to when, in the beginning of the year, and we had Kent and we had Krista, we had different levels of talent who could offer different services, so we thought we could just get the initial consultation and not, the follow-up for the first 2 or 3 years, which, depending on who we have on the board, that may be something that we need to pay for a few years, but it was about $5,000. It wasn't anything nearly as large as like what Arts Board, I think their
Yeah.
budgets are much bigger, but it wasn't anything like that.
So right now, there is no separate budget for board and commission funding, is
Yeah,
what Felicia had said.
yeah, Yeah.
So it'll probably be something that we would have to talk about more.
Okay.
so, but we keep going back to that, we have to know where we are and be able to move forward, and if we need to do like some community meetings and large-scale surveys and things like that, then, there would be some funding that would have to happen to support that.
Mhm.
So, let's see. Enhanced tree board chamber utility project coordination, I would say, I know Krista was leveraged a lot this year, and I know there's been a lot of utility and movement work, and you guys have been great to now say, and now here's a good right of way to go. So I feel like partnerships are going pretty well. Of course, we want to continue to move that forward. So I'm going to pause. 2023, what would y'all like to accomplish or feel like is a priority? Is that the right question?
It's a good question.
It's a good question. It's just going to take a while to answer, I think.
Sure. Well, and that's why, like I said, we're not going to accomplish a whole lot today. It was mostly just hindsighting and to go over some of these updates and start wrapping our brains around what we do want to accomplish next year. And I guess maybe, is there something that I can provide, or how would y'all like to go about making plans for our next year goals?
Maybe we can discuss that in December at the next meeting. Especially since we're hopefully going to have enough people to actually voted by them?
Well, it doesn't look like our new board members will come on until January. So,
But at that meeting, we can actually sort of sit down and prepare stuff, and then when they come in January, we can be like, okay, you wanna do this, or?
yeah.
One of the questions we need to ask is what the city council and the mayor are looking for us to accomplish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think as well. That's good. And too, sometimes whenever the new members come on, a lot of times they have a lot of ideas that they're
Right.
wanting, so a lot of times
Yeah.
your visionary can come from them.
Yeah. And so I know, well, the first thing I know that we'll do is the free tree giveaway. Of course, that won't happen till, I think it was March.
That's when
You're gonna be
last year.
pushing, you're gonna be pushing it. I mean, as far as getting, I don't know if we're planning on getting, I know there was talk about getting seedlings from the Missouri
Mhm.
State Forestry Department.
Mhm.
I'm still in favor for getting it from the Arkansas Forestry Division.
And you sent me.
I feel like we ought to be getting Arkansas trees
Yeah,
for Arkansas, but that's
Well,
me.
and I looked at the pricing of that. You sent a price list for that,
Yeah.
correct? To me, was that Balcom Nursery? Is that the one? And I'll forward, I'm not sure if you sent it to everyone or me, but I'll forward it out. But the pricing was actually really good on those too, I thought.
Right.
And that's one of the things I think could be helpful is if we gave out 600 in 2 hours. Yeah. We could easily double that.
I'll see what I can find out about availability of different species, and I noticed on there that there were some mixes,
Mhm.
so you didn't have to buy all nut all or
Mhm.
all cherry bark
Mhm.
or whatever. There were different types. I want to say there was one that was like more of a fruit tree mix, and there was
Yeah,
another.
she's got it
that-
pulled up.
That's what it looks like?
yeah. Then there was another
yeah, I
that was
think
like.
he gave me, I got a
kind of-
copy of that when I was at the event yesterday too, or Saturday.
Yeah, and there was another that was maybe like, not wildflower, but I mean flowering
Right.
trees type thing. So
Biodiversity or.
Yeah,
I
there-
can't remember the wording they have.
There's a river birch, a red mulberry, a white oak, Shumard oak, and a 3-star loblolly pine.
well, there's like bundles of
Oh, yes,
specific.
yes.
There are like bundles that you can buy that have a mixture in them, and then
Okay, yeah, so dogwood, Shumard oak, redbud, black gum, bald cypress.
right.
And then there's a wildlife that's pecan,
There
persimmon,
you
red
go.
mulberry, sawtooth, oak, and wild
Right.
plum.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think
But-
that would be good.
I have some connections at the forestry division if you guys are interested. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll take, a great deal. I definitely agree we can get the Arkansas trees too, but I think, that could be one of our first big things for spring to launch us off would be good. I would love to actually have it down in Markham Square Park.
Yeah.
Where we could talk about, do some tree education that day too, which might be kind of nice. There'll probably be some water flowing at that time where they can see it in use.
Right.
This is how this park functions maybe. So just to introduce to that new location. So I don't know how, are y'all getting a lot of good attendance down there
When I go
A lot of
by there,
people going
so,
Yeah.
I drive by, there's somebody there pretty much
all the time?
it's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
But,
It's a great little
it'll
park.
grow as more
Oh,
and
yeah.
more people.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Be great. Well, we could make a day of it. Some
It'd be
Yeah.
fun.
music
You probably
education
introduce some
and tree.
people to the park that probably didn't even know that it existed by doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a great
Well, and
place
we
for a
could
tree
target
giveaway.
definitely, if we know that there are some certain parts of town, being strategic about, of course, we want to advertise it to everyone, but making sure we do some good, I want to say geo-targeting or whatever, just making sure that communities who need trees we're making sure that they are getting that communication too, because they may not interact with the website or social media or the normal places we would reach someone.
Yeah.
So that's where we might lean on, city planning, or I'm not sure, like where we might need more trees, what would be a good area to focus. So, yeah. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. So I'm not quite sure what else we need to accomplish. If y'all want to talk about anything else for 2023, if we'd like to table what we would like to have prepared for December to have these discussions.
You had tree board orientation and training, what were you thinking?
This is back to even when Josh started, just wanting a little more information about the tree board
What do we-
history, our roles of function, what is wanted
Some of our events that we, right.
Yeah, and so, I think it'll be important because we're gonna have, at least 3 new people
Almost
come
half.
on at the start of the year. So I figured it would be a good time. And then also online, there's Tree Board University through Arbor Day, which helps the non-tree folks get some development if anybody's interested. So that was just really my thoughts. And I didn't know with trying to get all the boards and commissions more cohesive, if the city had something they wanted us to present new members with. If
I think definitely the attendance stuff, like say
Yeah.
right up front, like here's the expectations, just so
sure.
everybody knows what they are.
Yeah.
There's no confusion on that going
Yeah.
forward.
I think that the code of conduct, I was surprised I wasn't really given one of those when I started. I'm like, that's
And that's in there
a lot
too,
of freedom.
yeah.
So, some of those types of things I think are important when we have new members. So that was just my thought, but I'll put it back to you guys. So in terms of orientation, training, development, anything, is there anything that you guys would like? I do still owe a quick survey out to the city departments. We had talked about me reaching out to them and seeing how we can better support the departments that work with trees. Obviously, we talked to you guys quite a bit. We're starting to talk with Spencer. So that would be helpful too, I know. But then in terms of board members, if there's anything that y'all need, that was really what I was trying to get at. You've been here for a while. All right. Anybody have anything else? No? We're a lively crew today.
We're looking for a motion to adjourn, I'll give it.
Yes.
I can talk for hours, but there's really nothing else to talk about unless, if there's something you would like to see at the December meeting. Let me know. And I'll second that motion. That's all I got. Motion to adjourn, second motion. Everyone.
Let's go.
Aye.
Go for it.
So, and then December 5th will be our next meeting, just so you guys know.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you all. Appreciate your time.